Hi everybody, this is Crystal. Today I'm going to show you how to make this little vintage dress pot holder. I'm going to move my camera up so you can see it here. So it's pretty easy. Let me set it to the side here. And what I'm going to be using is Peaches and Cream, which is a medium weight 100% cotton. And I'm using mine for decoration purpose only because it does have holes in it. But if you want to line it or something, you can use it as a pot holder, but you want to make sure that you use cotton if you're going to use it for a pot holder, because acrylic will melt. If you're using it just for decoration like I am, you don't have to use the cotton. You can use acrylic. Either one will work. And there's 120 yards per skein. And I got 2 colors. And 2 skeins will make 2 pot holders. So the first color I have is called Fresh Lilac, and then I just got regular white. So what I'm going to do is I made this one this color, and then I'm going to make my next one to match it, but it's going to be opposite color. Like wherever there's purple, it's going to be white, and wherever there's white, it's going to be purple. So 2 skeins will make a set of pot holders like that, opposite colors. And then I'm going to be using a size H, which is a 5mm crochet hook. So first we'll start off with the ring part. And you want to start with the slip knot on your hook. And we're going to work a chain of 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now we're going to come down to the very first one, and we're going to slip stitch into it, and that's going to make a big ring. Like that. And then we're going to chain 1. And now we're going to work 28 single crochets through the center of this ring. So we're going to go right through the ring and single crochet. And we want to do that 28 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and as you go along, you might have to pull them. You can make them tight because they're going to be tight around this ring. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and I'm going to pull them down again. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and here it's 28. And now you want to do a slip stitch into the first single crochet that you made, not the chain 1 that we did, but the first single crochet. So if you need to count back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. To see which one it is. But it's the first single, not the chain 1. Slip stitch into that, and you should have 28 single crochets now. And I'm going to switch colors here, and I always switch colors by clipping my yarn and tying off. Man, that's tight. I don't even know why it's so tight. There we go. Here, I'll get it sometime. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is pull up my yarn and clip it. So I'm just going to clip my yarn here. Now if you know how to switch colors without tying off, you can do that, but I'm not very good at that, so I always tie off. If you watch my videos, you probably know that. Like that. So that is the ring. Now we're going to start. I'm going to start with my other color. And we're going to be working in the front loops only for this first part. So you can start in any stitch that you want. I'll probably start in the stitch next to the one that we just ended in. So maybe this won't be quite so noticeable. So in the front loop only, you see how there's 2 loops to each stitch. I'm going to go on the front one only, like that. And I'm going to start my yarn there, and I'm going to do a chain of 1. And now I'm going to work right back into that same stitch, the front loop only, and I'm going to do a double crochet. 1 double. Like that. And now I'm going to work 1 double crochet into the next 13 stitches in the front loops only. So counting that one we just did, we'll have a total of 14. Remember, we're only working in the front loop. And this will be the 13th one, and then counting that very first one, you should have a total of 14 stitches now, all the way across. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to turn our work around, and we're going to work in the same stitches, but the back loops of those stitches. And we're going to do 14 double crochets this way. So what I'm going to do is find the back loop of this stitches right here. So I'm going to yarn over and working in the back loop of that same stitch that we just worked the front loop in, and double crochet like that. And now I'm going to put 1 double crochet in the back loops that we didn't do a while ago because we only worked in the front loops. So we should have 14 across. If you flip your work in half like this, you can see the back loops kind of just pop up. Okay, I did the 14 across the back in the back loops. So what you want to do now is just come back around here and slip stitch into your first double crochet. Not that chain one, but that first double that we did on the other side when we were working in the front loops. And I'm going to change colors, so I'm going to tie this off, clip it like that. So that's what it looks like so far. Now I'm going to start with my purple again. And you can start in any stitch that you want. I'll probably just continue working on starting all my stitches along the side, so maybe the seam isn't so noticeable. I'm just going to start in that stitch that I just left off in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work a V stitch. I'm going to chain 1. Now I'm going to work a double crochet, a chain 1, a double crochet back into that same stitch. So I'm going to go right back into that same stitch and work 1 double. And then I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to work another double into that same stitch. Like that. So that's my V stitch. Now I'm going to skip the next stitch, and I'm going to work a V stitch into the next. So skip 1, and then put a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet all into that next stitch. Then I'm going to skip 1 and V-stitch into the next. So skip this one and put a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. And I'm going to repeat this pattern all the way around. Skip 1 and V-stitch into the next, double, chain 1, and double, skip 1, V-stitch into the next, double, chain 1, and double, skip 1, and V-stitch into the next. And I'm just going to repeat this all the way around until I get back to the beginning. So just all the way around back to here. And when you get back to the beginning, you should have a total of 14 of these V-stitches. Okay, when you make it back around, you should have 1 stitch left to skip, and now you want to slip stitch into that first double crochet of the first V-stitch. Not the chain one we did, but that first double crochet. And again, I'm going to change colors. So I'm going to clip this off. Start again with another color. Starting to look like that now. So I'm going to go back to my white. And you can start anywhere you want. You want to start in one of the chain 1 spaces or in the middle of the V-stitch. So like right here is the V-stitch. Just start right in the space of it. And we're going to start off by chaining 1. And now we're going to do, I don't even know if this is the correct term, but I call it a double V-stitch. That's where we're going to put all into the same space. We're going to put 2 double crochets. So there's 1 and 2. And then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to go back into that same space and put 2 more double crochets. Just like that. Now I'm going to jump to my next chain 1 space in my next V-stitch, so right here. And I'm going to do another double V. So I'm going to do right through the space, 2 double crochets, a chain of 1, and 2 more doubles. And I'm just going to repeat that all the way around. So I'm going to jump to my next V-stitch space, and I'm going to do a double V. So I'm going to go right in it and put 2 double crochet, chain 1, and 2 more double crochet. Like that. Jump to my next one and do it again. 2 doubles, chain 1, and 2 more doubles. So I'm going to repeat this all the way around, putting a double V-stitch in the chain 1 space of every V-stitch from the previous row. So here and here, here, all the way around. And when you get back to the beginning, you should have 14 of these double V-stitches. Okay, I've made it around, and I have 14 of these double V-stitches, and this is what it's starting to look like. Now I'm going to end it by slip stitching into the top of my first double crochet here of that first double V-stitch. And I'm going to change colors again. Sometimes I get mean messages about me changing colors the way that I do, tying off all the time. Like, I don't really know what the big deal is. Everybody does it their own way. Mean messages aren't necessary. Okay, now besides all the tails I got, I think it's a lot easier for me. I'm going to start again with my next color, and I'm going to start in the middle of one of these double V-stitches. And I'm going to start by chaining 1, and now I'm just going to do a double V-stitch in the middle of this double V-stitch. So I'm going to do 2 right in the middle of it, 2 double crochet, chain 1, and 2 double crochet. just like that. Now I'm going to do a chain 1, and then I'm going to jump to the next double V-stitch, which is right here, and I'm going to do a double V-stitch in the middle of it. So 2 doubles, chain 1, and 2 more doubles. And I'm going to chain 1. So it's just like the row before, except for now we're chaining 1 in between the V-stitches. So I'm going to jump right here into the middle of my next one and do another one. So 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles, and then chain 1 in between, jump to the next one and do it again. So I'm just going to repeat this pattern all the way around, back to the beginning, I stumbled on my words. And you should have a total of 14 still of these double V-stitches. Okay, once you make it all the way around, I'm going to make sure you chain 1 after your last double V-stitch there, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of our first double crochet here. And now we're going to change colors again, like that, and this is what it starts to look like so far. Now this is where we're going to put the armholes on. And this we'll keep this color for a while now. It'll be the main part of the dress. So you want to get your piece lined up here. Your shell's kind of lined up. So what you want to do is, right here is where our 2 armholes will be. In between these shells, and on the other side it's going to be in between these shells. So you want to start your yarn holding these 2 pieces together, and we'll go put our hook through both of them, and we'll go ahead and pull our yarn up and start it, and we're going to chain 1. Now what we're going to do is work a double crochet right back into that same spot, so right through both of them, and that's going to create an armhole just like that. So now right here is what you have, is the start of 1 armhole. Now what we're going to do is jump over to our next double V right here, and we're going to do a double V stitch in it. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to put 2 double crochet, chain 1, and then 2 double crochet all into that chain space. And now we're going to put 1 double crochet right here in between these next 2 stitches, just like that. And then we're going to jump here to the next double V stitch, and we're going to put a double V in it, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and then we will chain 1 right here in between the next, not chain 1, I'm sorry, double crochet right here in between these 2 V stitches. So go right through that space and double crochet. Now we're going to do another double V stitch into the chain 1 space of that V stitch here. So 2 double crochet, chain 1, and 2 double crochet. Now right here is where we're going to do the next armhole. So you fold it down like that, and right here we're going to double crochet these 2 chain spaces together. So we're just going to yarn over and go right through the 2 chain spaces, just like that, and double crochet, and that makes the next armhole. And then we're just gonna kind of turn our work, and then we're gonna just keep repeating that. So we'll be doing a double V stitch right here in the middle of this double V stitch. So 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles, and then 1 double crochet right here in between, and then 2 doubles, or double V-stitch here, and then a double crochet in between, and a double V-stitch here. You just keep repeating that till you get back to the beginning. Okay, once you make it back around to the beginning, I just did a double V-stitch there. So what I'm going to do is slip stitch into this first double crochet here that we made the arm spaces with. First double crochet that we did, like that. Now we're not going to tie off now. We're just going to start again. So you should have 6 of the V-stitches, and then you'll have 6 double crochets. So what we're going to do, start again, and we are going to chain 1. Now we're going to work 2 double crochets right back into this very first stitch. So there's 1 and 2. Now we're going to work a double V-stitch right here in the center of this double V-stitch. So the double V-stitches, they always stay lined up with each other. So you're always going to put one in the middle of the one before. Like that. And then we're going to jump to the next stitch, this double crochet here, and we're going to put 2 double crochets in the top of it. Like that. And then we're going to jump to the next stitch, and we're going to put a double V. Just like that. We're just going to keep repeating that. This stitch here, 2 double crochets in it, and then a double V here. And then 2 double crochets here into this double crochet. Like that. And then a double V here in that. And then we're just going to repeat that back to the beginning. I've made it back around to the beginning, and now I'm going to end by slip stitching into my first double crochet. And you still should have 6 of the double V stitches, and now you'll have 12 double crochets this round. Okay, we're going to start again by chaining 1, and we're going to work 2 double crochets right back into that same stitch. Like that. And then we're going to put 1 double crochet into this next double crochet. And now we're going to skip these, and we're just going to jump to this next double V stitch, and we're going to double V stitch in it. Like that. And then we're going to skip these part of the V stitch, and we're going to come here to these 2 double crochets, and we're going to put 2 double crochets in the first one, and 1 double crochet into the next one, like that. And then we're going to skip these and jump to the next middle of the next double V stitch, and we're going to double V stitch in it. That. Skipping these stitches here and coming to these 2 double crochets, putting 2 double crochets in the first one, and then 1 double crochet into the next one. And that is what we're going to repeat all the way around until you get back to the beginning. Okay, I've made it to the end, And we're just going to skip these stitches of the V and slip stitch into our first double crochet. And you should have 6 of the double V's and 18 double crochets that round. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to work 1 double crochet right back into that same stitch. And then we're going to work 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And then we're going to work 1 double crochet into the next stitch. And then we're going to skip these 2 of the V, and right here in this piece we're going to put a V, another double V right here in this chain space. Now we'll skip these 2 stitches of the V. We're going to be working in these stitches, these 3. So we're going to put 1 double crochet into the first one, 2 double crochets into the next one, and 1 double crochet into the next one. That. Skip these stitches of the V and work in the chain space of it and put another double V. And that is a repeat this time around. It's actually pretty easy. You're just increasing these double crochets in the middle every round. So we'll skip these right here, and we're going to be working in these 3. So we'll 1 double crochet into the first one, 2 double crochets into the next one, 1 double crochet into the next one. Then we're going to skip these 2 stitches of the V and work in the chain space of it and put another V. So we're going to repeat this pattern all the way around. Get back around, you should still have 6 of the double V's, and then you'll have 24 double crochets at the end of this round. Okay, when you make it back around, you want to slip stitch into your first double crochet. And then we will start again by chaining 1, and we're going to work 1 double crochet into that very same stitch, and then we're going to work 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to work 2 double crochets into the next, and then 1 double crochet into the next, like that. And then we're going to skip these 2 stitches of the V, and working in the chain space we're going to put a double V. Just like that. Now we're going to be skipping these 2 stitches of the V, and we're going to be working in these 4 stitches. So we're going to put 1 double crochet into the first one, 1 double crochet into the next one, and then 2 double crochets into the next, and 1 double crochet into the last one, like that. So if you look close, you can see that we're just increasing by 1 of these double crochets every time around. So we had 1 there, then we had 2, then we have 3, then we have 4. Now we're doing 5. So we're just going to jump here to this next chain space and work a double V. Chain 1, double V, like that. Now we're going to skip these 2 stitches of the V, and we're going to work in these 4 stitches here. So we're going to put 1 double in the first one, 1 double into the next one, 2 doubles into the next, and then 1 double into the next. And then we're going to jump to this next chain space and work our double V. So I'm going to continue this pattern all the way around, and when you get back around at the end of this row, you should have 6 of the double V's, and then we're going to have 30 double crochets. Okay, let's slip stitch into the top of our first double crochet, and we'll go around again. And we're going to start out by chaining one, and we're going to work one double crochet right back into that very first stitch. And then we're going to work one double crochet into the next stitch. And then we're going to work two double crochets into the next. And then I'm going to work one double crochet in each of these last two stitches. So one here and one here. And then I'll skip these two stitches of the V, and then I'll V stitch into this chain space here. Like that. And then I'll skip these two stitches of the V, and we'll be working in these 5. And remember, we're just going to increase these 5 to 6 because every row they increase more, one more. So we're going to work one double crochet in the first one, one double crochet into the next one, and then two double crochets into the next one, and then one double crochet in these last two, just like that. And now we're gonna skip these two stitches and work in the V stitch and do a double V. So now we're gonna repeat this pattern all the way around until you get back to the beginning. Skip these two, work one double here into the first one, one double into the next one, two doubles into the next, one double into each of the last two, and then we'll skip these two of the V and work a V stitch here. So you should have a total of 6 double V stitches at the end of this round. Okay, I made it around. Now what I'm going to do is slip stitch into my first double crochet, and I am going to tie this off, and I'm going to do a color change here. I'm going to keep doing what I was doing. I'm just going to go to my purple now. So I'm just going to start right here in the same stitch that I just ended in. And I am going to chain one, and then I'm going to do a double crochet right back into that same stitch. Just like that. And then I'm going to do a double crochet into the next stitch, one double crochet into the next stitch, and then the next stitch I'm going to put 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So again, we're just increasing it by 1 stitch, and then 1 double crochet in each of the last 2 stitches, like that. And then we're going to skip these 2 stitches of the V, and I'm going to work double V right here in this chain space. I know you guys probably get the idea now how to do this, but we're almost done, so I'll just keep going row by row until we're done, like that. And now we're going to skip these 2 stitches of the V, and we're going to be working in these stitches here. So we're going to put 1 double crochet into the first 3. So 1 there, 1 into the next one, 1 into the next one, and then 2 in the next, like that, and then 1 in each of the last 2. That. And then we skip these 2 stitches of the V and work in the chain space, and we work a V, a double V. just like that. And now we're going to skip these 2 stitches of the V, and we're going to work in these stitches here. So we're going to work 1 double crochet into the first 3. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to work 2 double crochets into the next one, and then 1 double crochet in each of these last 2 stitches, and then we're going to skip these 2 stitches of the V and work here. So we're just going to repeat this pattern all the way around. And when you get back around to the end of this row, you should have 6 of these double V's, and then you'll have 42 double crochets. Okay, when you make it to the end, you want to go ahead and slip stitch into your first double crochet. And then I'm going to switch colors, and I'm going to do the edging at the bottom. So I'm going to bring my other color up, and I'm just going to start right where I left off. And what I'm going to do is start my yarn, and I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to put 1 single crochet right back into that same stitch, like that. And then I'm going to put 1 single crochet in every one of these stitches until I get to the chain 1 space of the V. So just like this, including these 2 stitches of the V. You want to do a single crochet in those. And then when you get to this chain 1 space, I'm going to work 5 half double crochets in it. So there's 1 right through the space, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now I'm going to continue putting 1 single crochet in every stitch, but you want to make sure you get that first stitch there. You got to pull your stitches back sometimes to see it. You want to make sure you get that first stitch, and it's 1 single crochet in every stitch until you get to your next chain space. Just like this. When you get to your next space, it's 5 half double crochets right through it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Make sure you pull that back and start each single crochet right there in that first one. And we're just going to repeat this all the way around until we get back to the beginning. Okay, when you make it back around, you want to make sure, I just did this last 5 half doubles there in that space. You want to make sure you get these last 2 single crochets here. So right there and right here, and then you just slip stitch into your first single crochet, not the chain 1. It's the first single crochet. Tie that off. You can hide that tail if you want. I'll do that in just a little bit. So the dress part's done. Now we're going to do the sleeves, and they're basically done the same way as that trim that we just did. You just want to start right up here in this, see where these 2 are connected? Just start in the one side of it and start your yarn. And chain 1, now single crochet right back into that space. Just the one side of it. So it's just on one side. It's not together like we connected them, it's just on the one side. And now we're going to put a single crochet in each of these stitches until we get to the middle of the V right here, and that's where we'll do our 5 half doubles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then slide these back. Make sure you get this first single crochet, and now it's just single crochet in every stitch, including this chain 1 space, until you get to your next chain, the next middle of the next V, and that's where you'll do your 5 half doubles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slide that over, grab that first one, 1 single crochet in each of the stitch, including the chain 1 in between. So you just want to repeat this until you get all the way around. When you make it back around to the beginning, I did the 5 half doubles here, and then a double here, a double here, and I have this chain 1 space here. Go ahead and single crochet right through that space, like that, and then kind of flip your work over, and then we're just going to slip stitch on this side in our first single crochet that we made, not the chain 1, but the first single. And then we can tie that off. Both sleeves are worked the exact same. So I'm going to do the other one, and then I'm going to hide all these tails real quick. Okay, that's it. I finished it. I tied off all the tails, and that's all there is to it. And here's my other one that I made earlier. So you can see they're the same. They're just opposite colors. I think this would make a nice little gift for somebody. You can find out what color their kitchen is, and they can hang them right up on the wall. It'd be really cute. But they're pretty easy. And until next time, have a good day. Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this hot pad. You can use it for a hot pad or a washcloth. I still got to hide all my tails. I would, if you wanted to use it for a pot holder, I would probably make 2 and double them up or something, because otherwise it's got holes and you're going to get burnt. But it makes a real pretty hot pad or a washcloth. But you don't even have to use these colors. You can use any colors that you want. But I'm using Peaches and Cream, which is 100% cotton, and you want to make sure that if you're going to use it for a hot pad, that you use cotton. Even for a wash rag, cotton works the best. And I'm using the colors of the rainbow, so I don't remember. I just got scraps. Here's purple, and then I believe this is called Fresh Lilac, and then I got bright blue, royal blue, forest green, bright orange, and then the yellow I believe was just called yellow, and then I just have the red was just called red, and then the white all around it. But you can use any colors that you want. And if you can see how big it is, it's probably about, I don't know, 10 inches across maybe. That's just a guess, something like that. And I'm going to be using a size H, which is a 5mm crochet hook, and this is really easy to make. Okay, well before we start, I'll just address my scrapes on my hand, because every time I have some type of cut or something on my hand, I always get a few emails. Everybody always asks me what happened. This was from, I was making pots outside, planting flowers, and I was mixing different kinds of dirt together. I used to be a landscape designer years ago, and I gave that up to stay home with my kids, but so I always still make pots outside, and I always make a special dirt mixture, and I was mixing it up, and it has wood bark and stuff in it, and that's what happened there. It kind of cut my hands up. So just get that out of the way so everybody knows what that's from. Okay, you want to start with the slip knot on your hook, and we're going to start off with a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch to form a ring. And then we're going to chain 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work 12 double crochets through the center of the ring. So we're going to yarn over, go right through the center, draw up a loop, and double crochet. And we want to do that 12 times. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now you want to, if you pull your center tail, you can usually close up that circle. And now you want to slip stitch into your first double crochet. Not that chain one way down there, but the very first double crochet that we did. And now I'm going to tie this off, and I'm going to switch yarn colors here. You don't have to switch colors. You can do it all the same color, do whatever you want, but I'm going to clip off and switch colors here. So I'm going to clip this. Okay, now I'm going to use my next color. I'm going to be using is a light blue. So I'm just going to start in the same spot that I just ended in. So right here into this slip stitch spot, and I'm going to chain 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to do a double crochet right back into that same stitch. Double crochet right back into it like that. And now what I'm going to do is a front post triple crochet around the same stitch. So this one right here that we just slip stitched into, we want to yarn over twice like we're going to do a triple crochet, but we're going to go around the post of the stitch like that, and then go ahead and do the triple crochet like that. Now we're going to go over to the next stitch, which is right here. We're going to put a double crochet in the top of that stitch, and then we're going to do a front post triple crochet around the post of the same stitch. So we're going to yarn over twice, go around the same stitch that you just double crocheted into, around the post of it like that, and then we go ahead and do our triple crochet. Again, we're going to jump to the next stitch, and we're going to put a double crochet into the top of it, and then we're going to do a front post triple crochet around the post of the same stitch. So we're going to yarn over twice and go right around the post of it like that, and then we do our triple crochet. And we're just going to repeat this all the way around. So you jump to the next stitch there and do a double crochet into the top of it, and then we're going to do a front post triple around the post of the same stitch. So yarn over twice, go around the post of the same stitch, and triple crochet. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. Double crochet into the top of the next stitch, and front post triple around the post of the same stitch. Doing that one over. My yarn just split. So we're just going to repeat this all the way around until we get back to the beginning. Double crochet into the top of the next stitch, and front post triple crochet around the post of the same stitch. And when you get back around, you should have a total of 24 stitches. Okay, once you make it all the way around, your last stitch should be the front post triple around your last stitch. Go ahead and slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet, not the chain one but the first double, like that. And I'm going to clip this off, and I'm going to start my next color, and I'm going to start it with the dark blue, and I'm going to start it in the same spot that I just ended in. So that same spot, I'm going to start by chaining one, and I'm going to put a double crochet right back into that same stitch, like that. And now I'm going to put a double crochet into the top of the next stitch, and if you look, you can see it's a front post triple there. What we want to do is put a double crochet into the top of that stitch, and then we want to put a front post triple around the same stitch. So triple around the post here. Just like that. Again, we're going to put one double crochet into the next stitch. And then the next stitch is the front post triple stitch. You can see it here. You want to put a double crochet in the top of it, and then you want to put a front post triple around the post of it, like this. Again, double crochet into the top of the next stitch, and then double crochet. This is the post stitch, double crochet into the top of it, and double crochet, or front post triple crochet, I'm sorry, around the post of it. And that's the pattern repeat this time around. So it's actually 2 double crochets in a row. So one double into the next stitch, and then a double into the top of the next stitch, and then it's a front post triple around the same stitch. Just keeping the posts lined up, that's all we're doing. Double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, and then front post triple around that same stitch. And you just want to repeat this all the way around. When you get back around, you should have a total of 36 stitches at the end of round 3. Okay, once you make it all the way around and you got your 48 stitches, your last stitch should have been a front post triple. Go ahead and slip stitch into the top of your first double crochet. Tie that off. I'm going to switch colors again. And I'm going to start with my green, and I'm going to start it in the same spot that I just ended in. And I'm going to start by chaining one and putting one double crochet right back into that same stitch. And then I'm going to put one double crochet into the next stitch. And then you can see that the next stitch is the post stitch. And every time we get to a post stitch, there's always going to be a double crochet on top of the post stitch, and then a front post triple crochet around the same post stitch. That's how we're going to increase every round. That's increasing is what's making the circles stay flat. So we're going to put one double crochet in these 2 stitches here, and then 1 double crochet on the top of this stitch, and 1 front post triple around the post of the same stitch. And around the same stitch, I do my front post triple, just like that. Now I'm going to put 1 double crochet in each of these stitches here. And then my next stitch, you can see, is the post, so I'm going to put 1 double crochet on top of it, and then the front post triple around the post of the same stitch, like that. And I'm just going to repeat that all the way around. 1 double crochet in these 2 stitches here in between the posts. Here's the 2 posts on each side. You can see there's stitches in between, and then this stitch is the post, so you got to put a double crochet on top of it, and then a front post triple crochet around the same post. So I'm going to go ahead and put my double crochet on top of it, and then I'm going to front post triple around the post of the same stitch. So this is the pattern I'm going to repeat this time around. And when I get back around this time, I should have a total of 48 stitches at the end of round 4. Okay, when you make it all the way around, again, you should have ended in the front post triple crochet. And you want to slip stitch into the top of your first double to end that round. I'm going to tie off, and now I'm going to start my yellow. And I'm going to start it in the same stitch that I just ended in. Yellow is a big cone of yellow. They didn't have no little ones. I think this is a big one. Okay. And I'm just going to start by chaining 1 and double crocheting right back into that same stitch. And now I'm going to put 1 double crochet in these next 2 stitches here, and then the next stitch you can see is the post stitch, so you want to put a double crochet into the top of it, and a double crochet, or front post triple crochet, I'm sorry, around the post of the same stitch, like that. And now if you look right here, in between the posts, there's 3 double crochets. You want to put 1 double crochet in each of those. And then the next one is the post, so you want to put a double crochet in the top of it, and the front post triple around the post of it. And then right here are the posts. If you look in between them, there's 3 double crochet, so you got to put 1 double crochet in each of those. And then the next stitch is the post, so you got to put a double crochet in the top of it and a front post triple around the post of it. And now this is the pattern all the way around this time. Just like that. As you can see, we're just keeping the posts all lined up. Every row has another double crochet in between, so it's really easy to get the hang of it. There's 3 double crochets in between this post, so go ahead and put 1 double crochet in each of those. And then the next stitch is the post stitch, so you're going to put a double crochet in the top of it and a double crochet around, or I keep saying that, a front post triple around the post of it. Just like that. And you want to continue this pattern all the way around, and when you get back around you should have a total of 60 stitches at the end of round 5. Okay, once you make it all the way around, you ended in that front post triple, you should always end in that front post triple. Go ahead and slip stitch into your first double crochet, tie that off. Now I'm going to start with my orange. And I'm going to start in the same stitch that I ended in. And I'm going to start by chaining 1 and putting a double crochet right back into that same stitch. And I'm going to put a double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Like that, and then the next stitch is my post stitch, so I'm going to put a double crochet on top and a front post triple around the post of the same stitch. So there's my double crochet on top and my front post triple around the post. Now again, if you look between the posts, you can see now that there's 4 double crochets between the posts. Last time there were 3. The time before that there were 2. So we're going to put 1 double crochet in each of the stitches between the post. And now I'm at the post, so what I'm going to do is put a double crochet in the top and then a front post triple around the post of the same stitch. And again, we're still just keeping our posts lined up the whole time, every round. Like that. And when you look in between the posts, there's 4 double crochets, so you want to put 1 double crochet in each of those 4 stitches. And then the next stitch is the post stitch, so we put 1 double crochet in top and then we front post triple around the post. So now we're just going to repeat this all the way around, just like that. And when you get back around, you should have a total of, at the end of round 6. Okay, once you make it all the way around, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of your first double crochet. Tie this off. And now I'm going to start my red, which should be my last round before I do the edging. And I'm just going to do it in the same way I've been doing the other ones. Start right here in the very same stitch that I ended in. And I'm going to start with chain 1, double crochet right back into that same stitch. And then I'm going to double crochet in these next 4 stitches here. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can see the next one is the post, so we got a double crochet in the top of it and front post triple around the post of it. So there's my double crochet and front post triple around the post of it. So we're just doing kind of the same thing we've been doing every round. Now if you look in between the posts, you'll see there are 5 double crochets this time, just like last time there were 4. The time before that there were 3. But now we're going to put 1 double crochet in each of those 5 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The next stitch is the post, so we're going to double crochet in the top of it, and then we're going to front post triple around the post of it. And now we're just going to repeat this all the way around, the same thing we've been doing, just like that. posts are always still staying lined up. So when you get back around, you should have a total of... Okay, now once you make it all the way around, again, we're just going to slip stitch into our first double crochet and tie that off. Now you can make this bigger if you want before you put the edging on it. You're going to just keep going around the same way that we've been going around, and there will always be one more double crochet in between the posts every round. But now I'm going to start putting the white on. Okay, I'm going to start my white in any one of these post stitches. So right here you can see the post. I'm going to start right in the top of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain one. Now into the same post stitch I'm going to work 1 half double crochet, 1 double crochet into the same stitch, and then 1 more half double into that same stitch. So that post stitch got a half double, a double, and then another half double in the same stitch. Now I'm going to put 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So single crochet into the next, and then single crochet into the next. Okay, the next stitch is going to get 1 half double crochet, and in the same stitch I'm going to put 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to put a half double into the same stitch like that. And now I'm going to move to the next stitch, and I'm going to put the same thing, a half double crochet, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and a half double crochet like that. And then I'm going to put 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 single, 1 single, and now we're back at the post stitch again, and we're just going to repeat what we just did. So on this post stitch we're going to put 1 half double, 1 double, and 1 half double, all into that post stitch there. Now I'm going to put 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 single, 1 single into the next. The next stitch is going to get 1 half double, 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3, 1 half double, and now I'm going to jump to the next stitch, and I'm going to do that again. So it's going to get 1 half double, 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3, 1 half double like that. And now I'm going to put 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. 1 and 1. And now you'll be at your post stitch again. And you just repeat what we've been doing. So you just do a half double, 1 double, and 1 half double into the post. 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then in the next you get your half double, 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3, 1 half double. And then we jump to the next one and repeat this again. So it's 1 half double, 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 1 half double, and then it's 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and repeat again, starting at your post stitch. So that's the edging, and you just want to repeat that all the way around. It's supposed to kind of look like poofy clouds. I don't know if it really does or not, but repeat that all the way around until you get back to the beginning. Okay, when you make it back around, you just slip stitch into your first half double crochet, tie that off, and then you can hide all your tails, and that is it. That is all there is to it. I think it makes a cute little bright colorful hot pad. I still gotta hide some tails, but that'll do it. It's pretty easy, and you can check my Etsy shop out for the pattern for this, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'll put links to all that stuff below, and till next time, have a good day. Hi everybody, it's Crystal. So I'm going to show you how to make these little vintage woman to bloomer pot holders. This one's got like 2 ruffles, but this one I show you how to make with the 1 ruffle. And I kind of just put a little flower on mine. You don't have to do that or anything, but it's real easy. This would be something good for a beginner. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, for this project I am using Peaches and Cream, which is just a medium weight 4-ply 100% cotton yarn. So you need to use cotton if you're going to be using these as really pot holders. You're going to need to make sure you use 100% cotton, and you might need to make 2 of these and double it up, but otherwise mine's going to be decoration. I'm just going to hang mine up, so I just did 1, but if you want them to be functional, make sure you use cotton, and you might probably need to put 2 together. This has about 95 yards, and 1 of these would be enough to do a pot holder. And the color I'm using, this one is, I don't even know, I thought I just seen it, Blue Moon Ombre. And I'm using some regular white too. Then I'm going to be using a size G, which is a 4.25 millimeter crochet hook. And you can do your color scheme on your pot holder any way you want. If you want to make it solid or striped or whatever you want to do. But I'm going to start out, you need to start out with a chain of 21. And then you want to double crochet in the 4th stitch from the hook. Remember, we never count the one that's on our hook. So 4 over and double crochet into that one. Like that. And now I'm going to put 1 double crochet in every stitch for the length of the chain. Just like that, until you get all the way to the end. Okay, when you make it to the end, you need to have a total of 19 stitches, counting this little chain here on the end. So this is going to count as a double crochet. So counting this one, you need to have 19. I'm going to switch colors here. So what I'm going to do here on my last double crochet, if you don't want to switch colors, you don't have to, but I'm going to go into it and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Now right here I'm going to clip this yarn and start my new one. I'm going to draw it through these 2 loops on my hook like that. And I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put like a little, just a small knot in it that I can take out later whenever I weave in my tails, but just to hold it in place while I'm working. Just a loose knot, and I'll take it out later. There we go. Okay, now you want to chain 3 and turn, and that chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So now you want to crochet, double crochet You want to have 9 double crochets across. So this counts as our first one. And we're going to start our next one, not right here, but right here. So we're going to yarn over and go into this one and double crochet. So counting that chain 3, there's 2 double crochets. And we need 9. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now in the next stitch, we're going to do a double crochet, a chain 1, and then another double crochet back into that same stitch. Just like that. That's going to start to give us our little, define the legs a little bit. And now we're going to go ahead and double crochet in the remaining of the stitches, and we should have a total of 9 stitches left. We'll see if we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the 9th one is going to be in the top of this little chain here. So just go ahead and go in it. Just like that. Now I'm going to chain 3 and turn. Now I'm kind of going to be repeating this row, but every time we go there's going to be another stitch added to each side. So we're going to work our way up until we get to this chain space. 1 double crochet in every stitch. Not starting with this first one. Starting with this one. Like that. And now we're going to go into this chain space and we're going to do 1 double, a chain 1, and then another double, all into that chain space. And now we're going to work our way back down, putting 1 double crochet in each of the remaining of the stitches. And make sure that this one is your first one. Sometimes it gets kind of lost underneath this double crochet, so make sure you go into it. Make sure you're going into the chain 3 too as your last stitch. Just like that. And then we're going to chain 3 and turn our work and repeat that row. Now it's just repeat of that last row. We just double crochet in all these stitches, and then we do a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into this chain 1 space, and then a double crochet in all these stitches. So it's real easy, and we want to keep doing that for a total of 10 rows starting with our very first row. So we're on 3, we're getting ready to go to 4, and you want to do a total of 10. Okay, I got my 10 rows done. Kind of pull that down a little bit. And that's what it looks like so far. Now I'm just going to pick off where I left off and chain 3 and turn. Now I'm going to do 1 double crochet in every stitch, just like before, until I get to that center chain 1. Okay, I've made it all the way across, and I'm going to go ahead and double crochet 1 time into that center here. Now I'm going to chain 3 and turn and go back across again. This is just separating the legs. Just 1 double in every stitch, just like before. Until you get across to this side. Okay, when you get back across to the other side, we're going to do 1 more row, but we're going to chain 3, I'm sorry, and turn. Now we're going to do another row across here, but we're going to work in the back loop only. So we're going to yarn over. And you can see that there each stitch has 2 loops. We want to just go through the back one. Like that. And double crochet. Back one of the next one. Double crochet. Back one of the next one. Double, back one, and you want to do that all the way across. And what that's doing is leaving this little the front loop here that we can attach a ruffle to later. Okay, I'm coming up here to the end. Now you don't have to, this chain 3, you don't have to try to go through any back loop or anything. Just go through it like normal. Like that. And now I'm going to tie this off and clip the yarn here. Okay. Now I'm going to start again on the other side and do the same thing. I'm going to start right here in the chain 1 space. And I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to jump to this next stitch and put 1 double crochet. Now I'm going to put 1 double crochet in every stitch across. I'm just going to repeat these 3 rows over here, and on the last row I'm just going to be working through the back loop just like this. I'm going to go ahead and clip this yarn and tie this off. You can hide all these cells if you want. I usually do it at the end like that. So this is what it looks like so far. We got these little rows where we just went through the back loops so we can attach a ruffle on later. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the little ring, hanging ring, and I'm going to go around it all with single crochet. That will clean up all the edges, make them look real nice. That's the key to have a nice, clean, finished project. Just going around all your edges. That's what I do anyways. Okay, you want to start with a slip knot on your hook. You want to do a chain of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now I'm going to go and slip stitch through the first chain to form a ring. Like that. And now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do 20 single crochets through this ring. I'm going to go through single crochet 20 times. It's going to be really tight. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Every so often you'll probably have to stop and pull all your stitches over. Like that. And then I'm going to continue again. 9, 10, 11. Okay, once you get your 20 single crochets in there, you'll have a little ring here like this, the little hook ring that you can hang it with. You want to slip stitch into your very first single crochet. Like that. And now I'm going to take my piece, and I'm going to hook it up here on the left side of the piece with the right side of your work facing you. Make sure your row of where you did the back, went through the back loop only. Make sure your row's up at the top so we can add ruffles on it later. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go into the top of this stitch and single crochet it on like that. I'll sew it on better later, but that's just to hook it on for now. Now I'm going to go down my whole piece and single crochet, and it's going to be hard to see the stitches because it's on the side of these double crochets, but I always just say for every double crochet it'll get 2 single crochets, and I just kind of evenly space them out just like this. Okay, once you made it all the way down with your row of single crochet, I'm actually going to do 3 single crochets in each of the corner stitches. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and now I'm just going to continue across, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. By putting 3 in the corner, it kind of helps the corners lay flatter. So I'm just going to continue all the way around my piece, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. I'm going to put 3 in each corner, 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, 3 up at this corner, and then I'm going to meet you back over here where we started. So just go like this and then put your 3 and go back all the way down. Just outline it just like that. Okay, when you make it back around to where you started, remember we started in the top stitch and we single crocheted this ring on, so I'm going to put 2 more single crochets in that stitch since we already have that 1 like that. And now I'm going to go through this stitch right here that holds the ring on. If you pull the ring up, you'll be able to see it right through, and slip stitch like that. I'm going to pull up a length of yarn and clip it. Now I'm going to use my yarn needle and kind of sew this ring on a little better with the tail. So I'm just going to kind of hold it up here, flip my piece over, and just sew it on a little bit tighter. Grab a piece here and then a piece on the ring, go through it, and do it again. Do it a couple times. until I feel like it's tight, and then I'll just weave this tail in and clip it off. Okay, now for the ruffle. I'm gonna flip it over like this. I'm gonna be working in these front loops that we skipped before. So I'm gonna go into the first one here and start my yarn. I'm gonna chain one. Now I'm gonna go back into that same stitch and single crochet 2 times. 1, 2. Now I'm going to go to the next stitch, the next loop. Remember, we're just going through that loop and doing half double crochet. Just right through that loop. That's my tail, but like that. And oops, half double 3 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then the next one I'm going to put 3 double crochets into the next one. 1, 2, 3, and then the next one we'll get 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then 3 in the next. Oops. One, 2, 3. So it's 3 double crochets all the way across until you get to your last 2 stitches, and I'll meet you at your last 2. Okay, when you get to your last 2 stitches here, you want to do 3 half doubles in the next. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 singles in the last, like that. And then you can tie that off. Actually, 2 singles in the last, and then slip stitch 1 more time in that last one. There, I think that'll make it look a little bit better. There we go. So in that very last one, it was 2 singles and a slip stitch, like that. And then you can hide that tail, kind of straighten out the back here. And now you want to do the same thing on the other side here, where these little loops are. Okay, once you get all your tails hidden, that's it. That's all there is to it. I hope you were able to follow along. It's pretty quick and easy. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, have a good day. Okay, I'm going to be making this little chicken pot holder. So it's really easy to make. I'm going to be using Peaches and Cream. It's a 100% 4-ply cotton yarn. If you want to make sure that you use cotton for a pot holder, because acrylic will melt if you try to pick something hot up with it. But I guess if you're just using it for decoration, acrylic would probably work. But I'm going to use 100% cotton. And color I'm using is called Oasis. Of course, you use any color that you want. And I'm using a size I 5.5mm crochet hook. Okay, and you want to start off with a slip knot. And I'm going to start with a chain of 4. Now if you want to use the magic circle here, you can. Otherwise, go ahead and slip stitch into the first stitch to form a ring. Now I'm going to do a chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. And now I'm going to go back through the center of the ring and do 11 more double crochets. So counting that chain 3, I'll have a total of 12 double crochets. Okay, once you get your 12 double crochets, sometimes you can pull this tail and make your center circle a little bit smaller. Closes it up a little bit. Now I'm not gonna close it. What I'm gonna do now is chain 3 and turn my work. Now I'm gonna go back across. This time I'm gonna put 2 double crochets in every stitch. So this chain 3 counts as the first one. So I'm going to go back into the same stitch right here and do another one. So that's like 2 double crochets in that first stitch. So now I'm going to work all the way around, putting 2 double crochets in each stitch. So you should have a total of 24 stitches when you get back around to the other side. Okay, I'm coming to the end here, and you want to make sure you put your last 2 double crochets into the top of this chain 3. Don't want to forget that chain, otherwise it's going to be kind of lopsided. Just like that. Now I'm going to chain 3 and turn. That chain 3 counts as my first double crochet. Now this round, this is going to be my first double crochet in the first stitch. I'm going to jump to the next stitch and I'm going to put 2 double crochets in the next stitch. And then I'm going to go to the next stitch and it's just going to be 1 double crochet. Next stitch is going to have 2 double crochets. So I'm just gradually increasing it, making it bigger. The next one is just going to be 1 double crochet, and then the next stitch will be 2. So you just want to repeat that: 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, until you get back to this side. Okay, when you make it to the end, your last you should have 2 stitches in your last stitch, and it should be in the top of that chain 3 there. And you should have a total of 36 stitches at the end of this round. Now I'm going to chain 3, and that's going to be my first double crochet. Turn my work. Now this time, this is my first double crochet. I'm going to go to the next stitch and I'm going to put 1 double crochet. And then the next stitch I'm going to put 2 double crochets. Like that. Now the next stitch is going to get 1 double crochet. The next one, 1 double crochet. And the next one will get 2 double crochets. So that's the repeat this time around. 1 double crochet in the next stitch. 1 double crochet in the stitch after that, and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So it's 2 double crochets in between each of the increased stitches, where the increased stitches are 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So double crochet, 2 double crochets, double, double, 2, all the way till you get to the end, and you should have a total of 48 stitches at the end of this round. Okay, I'm coming to the end, and again, you should end in an increase, and it should be in the top of this chain 3, 2 double crochets in that last stitch. Now I'm going to chain 3 and turn my work. I'm going to go around one more time. This time it's going to be 3 double crochets in a row and then an increase. So this is our first one. We're going to go to the next stitch and double crochet, and then the next one and double crochet. So that's 3 double crochets in a row, and the next one is going to be an increase. It's going to get 2 double crochets in the same stitch, just like that. Now 3 double crochets in a row. There's 1, 2, 3, and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So you just want to repeat this until you get to the end, and you should have a total of 60 stitches at the end of this round. Okay, once you made it to the end, should be an increase stitch at the end again, and you have 60 stitches. Now I'm going to go down here and back up with single crochet. So I'm just going to chain 1, and I'm going to work my way down, putting a single crochet in these stitches. Now, since you're working on the sides of these double crochets, it's going to be kind of hard to tell where they go. So I just kind of evenly space my single crochets out. It's kind of like this. It don't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be a certain number. Just get them kind of evenly spaced down the side. Okay, when you get down here to the center, single crochet right through that center. And now chain 12. This is going to be the little ring to hook it up on the something with. Now go back down again into the ring again, and a single crochet right back into that center ring, center hole again, like that. If you want this bigger or smaller, you can adjust the number of chains. Now just work your way back up, putting evenly spacing out single crochets. All this is doing is kind of cleaning up these rough edges. Make it look a little bit neater up the side. Okay, when you get to the top here, go ahead and single crochet in this top stitch, like that. So that's what it kind of looks like. Remember, there was no certain number of stitches you had to have. Just evenly space them out. Okay, you single crocheted into that top stitch. Now you're going to go back into that same stitch and double crochet, or half double crochet, I'm sorry. Single crochet, half double crochet, and then double crochet all into the same stitch, like that. and then you go to the next stitch, and we're going to be working triple crochets. It's where you yarn over twice, go through and triple. 1, go back in and triple again. 2, again, all in the same stitch. 3, again. 4, again. 5, again. 6, again. 7, and then one more time after that for a total of 8 triple crochets all into that same stitch. Now we're going to go to the next stitch, and I'm going to do a double crochet and then a half double crochet in that same stitch, and then a single crochet in that same stitch, like that. So we did, in the first stitch, we did a single, a half double, and a double. The next stitch was 8 triples, and then we went to the next stitch and did a double, a half double, and a single. Now we're going to go and work five single crochets in a row. There's 1, go to the next stitch, 2, the next stitch, 3, the next stitch, 4, the next stitch is 5. So now we got his head made. Now we're going to put the feathery shell stitching on. So we're going to skip 2 stitches, skip, skip, and in the next stitch we're going to put 7 double crochets in the same stitch. 7. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then you want to skip 2 stitches, skip, skip, and single crochet in the next. And then we'll skip 2 stitches again, skip, skip, put 7 double crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, skip 2, skip, skip, and single crochet in the next. Skip 2, skip, skip, 7 doubles in the next. So we're just going to repeat this pattern until you get all the way around the bottom up to back here. Okay, once you make it all the way to the end, and I'm just going to reach around and slip stitch into the top of one of these single crochets up here. Slip stitch, and now I'm going to tie this off, clip my yarn, like that. There you got his main body made. Now we'll work on his face. So I'm going to use some red. I'm going to work in the stitch up here that we put a single crochet, a half double crochet, and a double in. I'm going to start in that single crochet. So I'm going to start by pull my yarn through, and I'm going to chain 1. Okay, I'm going to go back into the same stitch, and I'm going to put a single crochet, a half double crochet, and then a double, all into that same stitch. Now I'm going to skip a stitch and then the next one I'm going to do the same thing. Single, half double, and then a double. Skip a stitch in the next stitch. Single, half double, and a double. Skip a stitch in the next one. Single, half double, and then a double. Skip a stitch in the next stitch. Single, half double, and a double, like that. So you have 5 of these little shell stitches. Now I'm just gonna tie it off right now, just like that. Okay, you want to make sure you pull the make that knot tight, and then when you sew it in, use your own needle and sew it in. Pull it kind of tight. Run it through. Pull it tight there, so it's not quite so pointed at the top. And then just sew it in and hide your tail. Like that. Now I'm going to make the red on the chest. I'm going to start. Okay, I'm going to start down here in that stitch that we put the double, the half double, and the single. I'm going to start in that single crochet. And I'm going to chain 1. And now I'm going to jump to the next stitch and single crochet. And in the next stitch, I'm going to half double crochet. And in the next stitch, I'm going to double crochet. And in the next stitch, I'm going to single crochet. Like that. And then I'm just going to slip stitch into the next stitch. And tie that off. And you want to hide them tails. Now I'm going to come up here and put a beak. Okay, I'm going to start, and here's where my last little top of the chicken went. I'm going to skip the next stitch, and I'm going to start in the next one. And I'm going to start with a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. And I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch right here. And then I'm going to come to the next stitch right down here and slip stitch. Like that. Then I'm going to tie this off and hide that tail like that. I'll hide them tails in a second. I'm going to go ahead and put an eye on here, and I'm just going to sew it on with my yarn needle. Just going to take a piece of black yarn, and wherever I want my eye, I'm just going to come from the bottom up. And just sew a little eye on. Go up one more time. Like that. And then you want to hide these tails. So I'm going to go ahead and hide all these tails real quick. Okay, once you get all your tails hidden, that's it. It's really pretty easy. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and please don't forget to check out all my other tutorials. And you can and until next time, have a good day. Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this hot pad here. It's actually really pretty easy. It's a simple 1-row repeat. It does make quite a pretty stitch. I'll have to go ahead and take the measurements of it here. Counting the picots, it's about 8 inches. About 8 inches. So now this, I consider this a hot pad to where if you take your pots or your pans, you take your pot off the stove and set this on the counter and set your pot on it. I would not recommend grabbing anything out of the oven with it, like a pot holder. If you want to do that, definitely make 2 of these and double it up to give you extra thickness. But as it stands now, either decoration, it'd make a great hot pad to set your pans on when they're hot so you don't burn your countertop, or you can even use it for a wash rag if you wanted to. But, you know, pot holder wise, if you're going to be grabbing pots, definitely double it up because you don't want to burn your hands. But so let's go ahead and get started on it. Okay, for this project I am using Sugar and Cream. It's a medium weight number 4 100% cotton. Now you do not have to use this brand, but I highly recommend that you use cotton yarn, because cotton's just best for anything in the kitchen, especially when heat is involved. Cotton won't melt like acrylic can sometimes melt if it reaches temperatures that are too high. Cotton won't do that. So it's best to use cotton. Now this one is a 100% cotton. Now I know there's another popular brand that a lot of people have, Premier Home. Now it's an 85 cotton and a 15 polyester. This one would be okay too. I would not use anything less than an 85% cotton. Now that's just my recommendations. You can do what you want, but that's just what I recommend. The color I use is called Tea Rose, and then I used the same brand cream for the edging if you want to put that on. This was full when I started. Let's see the yardage. I think there's 120 yards. Yeah, 120 yards. So you'll get one, and you might be able to get 2 out of a skein, maybe, but at least 1, probably 2. And then I'm going to be using a size I, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And I just want to take a second, like always, to ask you, please not to forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you look in the lower right hand corner, you will see a little red subscribe button. If you click on that, you'll automatically be subscribed. Also, you can always check me out on Facebook. The links to that are in the description box. You can show me all your stuff that you made and follow my tutorials, because I'd really love to see them. Or if you have any questions, you can always ask me on there. And also, as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. So this stitch is called the Suzette stitch. It's a pretty common stitch. Some of you might have heard of it. Now it's done in a actually it's done in any odd number. So you can chain any odd number. So if you want to make this hot pad bigger or smaller, or you want to use this stitch for something else, because it is a really pretty stitch, you just need to chain an odd number. So if you want to follow along with me, I chained 23. Alright, once you get your chain of 23 made, we are going to be working in the second stitch from the hook. Remember, we don't count the one that's on our hook. So we skip 1, and in the second stitch, we're going to work a single crochet and a double crochet into the same stitch. Just like that. And now we're going to skip 1 stitch. So we skip this one, and then the next one we do the same thing. We're going to work a single crochet and a double into the same stitch. skip 1 stitch, and in the next stitch, again, a single crochet and a double crochet in the same stitch. And that's what we're going to repeat until we get to the end of the row. We're going to skip 1 stitch, and in the next stitch, single crochet and double crochet into the same stitch, skip 1, and in the next, single and double into the same stitch. So I'm going to repeat this pattern until I get to the end of my row. Okay, I've made it to the end of row 1, and I have 1 stitch that remains. Go ahead and single crochet into that last stitch, and that'll end row 1. And you should have 11 sets of these single crochet double crochets into the same stitch. Now row 2 is the repeat row for the entire hot pad. So we chain 1 and turn our work. Now this very first stitch here, we are going to do a single crochet and a double crochet into that same stitch. And then we're going to skip 1 stitch, and in the next stitch, it's a single crochet and a double crochet into the same stitch. Skip 1 stitch, the next stitch is the same thing, single crochet and a double crochet. And that's what we're going to repeat until we get to the end of the row. Now if you notice, when we skip 1, we're always working into the single crochet, never the double crochet. So when we skip 1, we're actually skipping that double crochet from the previous row, and we're working in the single. So we skip this one, and the next stitch, which is the single crochet from the previous row, we single crochet and double crochet into that same stitch. Skip 1, and in the next, single crochet and double crochet. And we're just going to keep repeating that. Skip 1, and in the next, which is always a single crochet, we always are working into the single crochet. We single crochet and double crochet. So I'm going to repeat this pattern until I get to the end of the row. Alright, I'm coming to the end of row 2, and we are going to skip this last double crochet, and then the single crochet here on the end, we're going to just single crochet into it. It's actually kind of a chain, but it counts as a single, just like that. And you still should have 11 of these sets. So now we're just going to repeat that row 2. We chain 1 and we turn our work, and in the very first stitch we work a single crochet and the double crochet into the same stitch. Then we skip 1, and in the next stitch, single crochet and double crochet into the same stitch. Skip 1, in the next stitch, single crochet and double crochet. Remember, you're always working into the single crochets from the previous row. Skip 1 and repeat the pattern, single crochet, double crochet. And when we get to the end of the row, we do the same thing that we did for row 2. We just skip this stitch, and in the last stitch we single crochet. And you'll always have 11 sets of those single crochet doubles into the same stitch. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to keep repeating that row back and forth, back and forth. You can do it for as many rows as you like. I'm going to do it for a total of 15 rows. Alright, I got my 15 rows done. This is what it looks like. And remember, you can always do more if you want. Don't tie off now. Now we're going to go around the entire piece with a row of single crochet to clean up all the edges. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the chain 1. Now we're going to go back, we're going to work down the side. And it's going to be kind of hard to see where the stitches need to go because you're kind of working. But try to put one at the end of every row, a single crochet. Or do your best to. Or just evenly space them out the best that you can. So I kind of just put one kind of right here in this hole, just kind of show you what I'm doing. And then this longer space here, kind of wiggle my hook in between that chain there, and then I'll put a single crochet there. And then again into the next little hole. And then wiggle it through like that. The next little hole, and then wiggle it through. I'm just going to do this all the way down. Okay, when you get to the end here, well, I got one more spot to go in. Right here, the end of the row. You want to put 3, you see here's where we started because there's your tail. You want to put 3 single crochets into that corner. That'll help around the corner out a little bit. Like that. And then I'm just going to work 1 single crochet across the bottom here. In every stitch, you should be able to see pretty close to where the stitches are. Now when you get while we're working around this pot holder, there's no certain number of stitches that you need to have because you might have a different number than me. Since we're just kind of trying to evenly space out our single crochets. The only thing that matters is that we have an even number of stitches. We need to make sure that we have an even number. So I'm just going to continue all the way around. Working 1 single crochet in every stitch. And then when I get into each corner, I'm going to put 3 single crochets. And then I'm going to do my best to try to evenly space out my single crochets up this side. And then I'm going to put 3 single crochets into this corner. And then I'm going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch across the top. And then I'm going to meet you right back here at our starting point. Alright, I have made it back to my starting point. And here's my last stitch. Now, remember when I said you needed to have an even number of stitches this time all the way around? Now, yours might be different than mine, but go ahead and count your stitches all the way around. Now, if you have an even number right now, put 2 single crochets into this last stitch. If you have an odd number, put 3. It doesn't make any difference what you have, as long as I ended in an even number. So I'm going to put 2 stitches in that last stitch, so I will still have an even number of stitches. Now if you had an odd number and you put 3 stitches in there, it'll make you end in an even number. So it's okay if you didn't have the same amount as me, because when you're working on the sides of these, it's really hard to kind of determine where the stitch needs to go. So yours might be different than mine, and that's fine. It's no big deal. So now what we're going to do is make sure you got your even number. We're going to end in a slip stitch into our first single crochet. So remember, this is our chain 1. We don't want to go into that. We want to go into our first, this was our chain 1 that we did. We want to go into our first single crochet that we made. And then we're going to clip that off. Like that. Now I'm going to go around it with some white. Now you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Well, some off-white, I guess. Let's put a little picot edging. Now you can start anywhere you want. I'm going to start opposite side of where I just ended. I don't know why. I always do that. I'm just going to start up here in the corner somewhere. Anywhere is fine. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 1. Now I'm going to go back into that same stitch and single crochet. Now I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch, but I'm going to put a picot on this one. So what I'm going to do is chain 3 after that single crochet, and then I'm going to go back down and slip stitch to make a little point at the top. Some people slip stitch into the first chain to make a picot, and that's fine. I like to go on the side of the single crochet and slip stitch. I think it makes the picot tighter. It holds better. And then I slip stitch. Here we go. And that made that little ball looking thing on the top. That's a picot. So now I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch. And then in the next stitch, I'm going to single crochet and I'm going to put a picot on this one. So I'm going to chain 3 and then go back down, and I always grab the side of the single crochet and then slip stitch like that, single crochet into the next stitch, and then single crochet again into the next, and then I'll put a picot on this one. So chain 3, go back down to the side of it and slip stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, and then single crochet into the next, and put a picot on this one. And I'm just going to repeat this pattern all the way around until I get back to my starting point. Single crochet into the next, single crochet into the next, and then chain 3, putting a picot here. Just like that. And if you look, you'll see that's what it starts to look like. Some little balls on it. So I'm going to repeat this pattern all the way around my entire pot holder until I get back to the beginning. Alright, I've made it back to my starting point, and your last stitch should have been a picot right there. And I'm going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into my first single crochet that I made. And then I'm going to tie that off, clip my tail. I'm going to clip any other tail that I crocheted in along the way. Bunch of them. Okay, then I'll just have to hide this one here, and that is it. That's all there is to it. I think it turned out pretty cute. Cute little something to set your hot pots on. Remember though, if you're going to use this for a regular pot holder where you're going to grab pans out of the oven, definitely double it up. I mean, 100% do that. Otherwise, you know, it'd be great for just for a hot pad. You know, that's probably what I'll use it for, or even a you know, washcloth or whatever. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Remember, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you look up in the left hand corner, you'll see a picture of my face. Click on my notes or something, and then you'll automatically be subscribed and you'll never miss any of my updates. So until next time, have a good day. Hi everybody, this is Crystal, and today I'm going to show you how to make this pot holder. It's probably intended for decoration purposes only. It is double layered. I did put a backing on it, but if you want to use it for a pot holder, I recommended it in the video, but I'll tell you now too. Before you sew the two pieces together, I would probably put some type of piece of some piece of fabric like cotton, maybe with some fiber fill underneath it, something that won't melt, and sew it to the inside just so you don't get burnt, because even though it's double layered, it's still kind of holey. But otherwise, I'm going to use mine for decoration. So, or you could probably use it just to set hot pots on, or just decoration around the table. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Okay, for this project I am using Peaches and Cream. It's a 100% 4-ply cotton, and if you're using this for a pot holder, you want to make sure that it's made with cotton, because if you use acrylic it will melt. But if you're just going to use it for decoration or just a granny square or something, acrylic would be fine. And I'm using white and forest green, and I have a yellow. I got the big roll of that, and just red, regular red. But you can use any colors that you want. And then I'm going to be using a size I, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, you want to start off with the slip knot on your hook. I'm going to use the center color first. So I'm going to be using yellow. And you want to start off with a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to slip stitch into the first to form a ring. Just like that. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do a double crochet 4 together bobble. So what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over, go into the ring, and draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. Now we're going to do that 4 times total, so that was number 1. So I'm going to yarn over again, go through the ring, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2. Again, yarn over, through the ring, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2. So that was 3 times. One more time, I'm going to yarn over, go into the ring, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2. Now you should have 5 loops left on your hook. You want to yarn over and go through all 5, and then I kind of just pull them tight. And now what we're going to do is single crochet right back into the center ring, just like that. And if you flip it to the around to the back side, you'll see the bobble stitch sticking out. And you probably want to keep sliding them over as you go, because we want to do a total of 5 bobbles. So again, we're going to go ahead and do another bobble through the ring. So we're going to yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go in again, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops on your hook. You remember you want to do this 4 times total, and we've done it twice. So this will be 3 times. Nope. Go through the first 2. And one more time will be the 4th time. Go through the first 2. And you'll have 5 loops. You want to yarn over and go through all 5. And then I kind of just pull it tight. And then I kind of pull it over a little bit. And then go right through and single crochet. The bobbles form on the back of your work. So when you flip it, you can see your other bobble. So I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it till I have 5 bobbles. So one more time I'll show you. Go through, draw up a loop, yarn over, and go through the first 2 loops. You want to do that 4 times. So that was 1, 2, 3, and 4. I like cotton, but the bad thing, I always had trouble with it splitting on me. And then you have 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through all 5. Pull it tight. And I kind of just slide it over. And then single crochet back in to the ring. So there's 3 bobbles so far. So go ahead and work until you have a total of 5. Okay, once you have your 5 bobbles done, I just did my last one. You want to make sure you single crochet after that last bobble into the ring. And now we're going to slip stitch into our top of our first bobble, which is right here. Just go right into those 2 loops there. Like that, and then slip stitch and clip your yarn, which I've already clipped my yarn. Like that. And now we're going to change colors. Now you can kind of pull your tail and that'll close that circle up a little bit more. Otherwise you could sew it together at the end if you don't like the looks of it being open. So now I'm going to start with a new color. And it's still basically done the same way. We're just going to make more bobbles this time. So you want to start in that bobble that you slip stitched into. So just go right into that same spot. And start your yarn. Pull it tight and chain 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a bobble stitch in that same space. So we're going to yarn over and go in to that same space and draw up a loop and yarn over and go through the first 2. And you want to do that 4 times to make your bobble. Trying not to snag. And you have your other yarn strings, because with cotton it snags so easy. That's 2. Three, and there's 4, and you'll have 5 loops. Go ahead and go through all 5, pull it tight, and pull it over, single crochet into that same spot 2. Just like that. Now we're going to be working into that single crochet stitch that's next. Not on top of this bobble, but the next single crochet stitch. And we're going to do this again. So we're going to go into that single crochet stitch and work a bobble. It's pretty tight. Yarn over, go through all 5, and then pull it tight, and we're going to single crochet also into that same stitch. So pull it over and go ahead and single crochet into that stitch. Now we're going to be working in the top of this bobble, doing the same thing. So you can kind of see it if you pull the bobble from before back. There's the stitch you need to go into. So I'm going to work a bobble stitch into it. That. And I'm also going to work a single crochet into the same space. So into that same spot, a single crochet. Just like that. And you can see you're getting a row of bobbles on the back. So I'm just going to repeat this all the way around. So my next one is going to be working into this single crochet. Not this bobble stitch, but the single crochet. And we're going to work a bobble and a single crochet into the same space. So there's my bobble and a single crochet into the same space. Just like that. Now again, I'm going to repeat it, and it's going to be in the top of the next bobble. So I'm just going to keep repeating this, putting a bobble and a single crochet in every stitch around. Bobble, single crochet into the next stitch, into the next stitch, into the next stitch. So we're putting a bobble, single crochet in the top of every bobble and in every single crochet in between them. Okay, once you've made it all the way around, you should have 10 bobbles this time around and 10 single crochets in between. So what you want to do is go and slip stitch here into the first bobble. Just like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is chain one, and I'm going to work a bobble, single crochet into the very first stitch. There's my bobble. And then single crochet into that same spot, so you can kind of pull it over and single crochet. Now I'm going to jump to the next stitch, which is the single crochet between the two bobbles, and I'm going to do a bobble, single crochet into that spot. So I'm kind of just repeating what we did the round before. There's my bobble, and in the same spot I want to do a single, and it does get kind of tight like that. Now the next spot is on top of this bobble, and again I'm going to do a bobble and a single crochet in the same spot. My bobble, kind of pull it over a little bit, and there's my single crochet. And in the next spot right here between the two bobbles, this little spot, I got to do a bobble and a single crochet. So I'm just going to repeat this, basically what we did in the last round. A bobble and a single crochet in every stitch all the way around, just like that. And that's what it starts to look like. Okay, once you've made it all the way around, you should have 20 bobble stitches and 20 of the single crochets, and then you just want to go ahead and slip stitch right here after you did your last bobble, single crochet into that last stitch, into the top of this first bobble stitch, and clip your yarn and tie it off like that. Now later we can go through, I'll go through and hide all these tails because they're kind of in the front here, but for now we're going to start working with the right side of it facing us, and I'm going to use my green now. I'm just going to make some chain spaces. So you can flip it over, and we're going to be working in the tops of the bobbles only, not the chain 1 spaces. So now with your work facing this way, and you kind of just flip it up, and you go into the back of any of the bobbles, just the top of it, kind of like that. But if you look, you'll be able to see it. And go ahead and pull your yarn through, and we're going to do a chain of 2. So 1, 2, a loose chain of 2. Now we're going to, look at it button from the back, we're going to skip that single crochet, and we're going to slip stitch into the top of the next bobble. Just like that. And then we're going to do a loose chain of 2. And then we're going to skip that single crochet and slip stitch into the next of the top of the next bobble. Like that. Loose chain of 2, and skip the next single crochet and slip stitch into the top of the next bobble. Just like that. And we're going to repeat that. Loose chain of 2, skip that single crochet and slip stitch into the top of the next bobble. Loose chain of 2, skip the single and slip stitch into the top of the next bobble. We're just going to repeat this all the way around. Then skip that single and slip stitch into the top of the next bobble. So I'm going to repeat this pattern until I get back around to the beginning. When I get back around, I should have 20 of these chain 2 spaces. Okay, once you make it all the way around, I did my chain 2, and I'm back at the beginning. I'm just going to slip stitch into that same spot that I started into, that same stitch. Just like that. Now what I'm going to do is start another row. So I'm going to slip stitch into this first chain space. Remember, you should have 20 chain spaces. And now what I'm going to do is chain 1. And I'm going to do a single crochet into that chain space, and I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to single crochet into the next chain space, and then I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next chain space, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain space. It's right through the space, chain 3, and I'm just going to repeat this all the way around. Single crochet into that next chain space, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain space, chain 3, and I'm just going to continue this all the way around. So this is a pretty easy part. And when you get back around, you still should have 20 of these chain spaces on this round. 20 of these chain 3 spaces this time. Okay, I've made it back around, and I'm going to chain 3 after my last single crochet, and I'm going to end with the slip stitch into my first single crochet. Not that chain 1 we did, but the first single crochet. Like that. And you should have your 20 chain 3 spaces. Now I'm going to go around again, and I'm going to start by slip stitching into my first chain 3 space, chaining 1, and then go back into that same space and single crochet. And now I'm going to do a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to go to my next chain space and single crochet, and then I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, go to my next chain space, single crochet, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, go to my next space and single crochet. So it's basically what we just did on the previous round, except we're chaining 4 now instead of chaining 3. And we're going to do this all the way around until we get back to the beginning. And when you get back to the beginning, you should have 20 of the chain 4 spaces. Okay, once you make it all the way around, you remember to chain 4 after your last single crochet, and then we'll slip stitch again into that first single crochet, not the chain 1. And now we're going to tie this off, and we're going to start to square it off with, I'm going to use white to do that. So tie that off, and you can kind of just pull them out a bit. Okay, so I'm going to take my white and I'm going to start any one of these chain 4 spaces. And I'm going to chain 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a corner. So I'm going to do 2 double crochets into that space. And then I'm going to do a chain of 2. And in that same space I'm going to do 2 more double crochets. So there'll be 4 corners, and all 4 corners are going to be worked the same. 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. Just like that. Now what I'm going to do is put 3 double crochets into the next chain space. 3 doubles. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Now what I'm going to do is put 3 half double crochets into the next 2 chain spaces, half doubles. So I'm going to go to the next chain space and I'm going to put 3 half double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to jump to the next chain space and put 3 half double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And now the next space is going to get 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And now the next space will be a corner. So the next space we're going to put 2 double crochets, 1, 2, a chain of 2, and then 2 more double crochets. And we're just going to repeat this pattern around the whole piece. So the next chain space is going to get 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now 3 half double crochets in each of these next 2 chain spaces. So 3 half doubles in the next one. There's 1, 2, and 3. 3 half doubles into the next one. There's 1, 2, and 3. Now the next one is going to get 3 double crochets into the next. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then the next one is going to be a corner again. So it's going to get 2 double crochets, a chain of 2, and 2 more doubles into that same space. And now I'm just going to repeat again. So you can see we got 3 corners made so far. So I'm going to put 3 double crochets into the next chain space. So there's 1, 2, 3, 3 half double crochets in the next chain space. There's 1, 2, and 3. 3 half double crochets into the next chain space. There's 1, 2, 3. 3 doubles into the next chain space. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then the next space will be our last corner, so it'll get 2 double crochets, chain of 2, and 2 more doubles. Just like that. And you'll have 4 chain spaces left, so you'll put 3 doubles here, 3 half doubles, 3 half doubles, and 3 doubles. So go ahead and finish that up, and you'll be at the end, and I'll meet you when I get back right over here. Okay, once you make it to the end, you just want to go ahead and slip stitch into that first double crochet, not the chain one, but the first double, and don't tie off. Now if you see, it's kind of like a square, but it's still not quite as square as I would want it to be. So I'm going to try to square it off a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is chain 1, and I'm going to go right back into that same stitch and put a double crochet. And now I'm going to put a double crochet into the next stitch. And now I'm at my chain 2 space, and my chain 2 space is always going to get, it's going to be the corner. So it's going to get right through the space, 2 double crochets, a chain of 2, and 2 more double crochets. Just like that. And now I'm going to put 2 double crochets in these next 2 stitches. Double crochets like that. And now I'm going to work half double crochets in the next 12 stitches. 1 half double crochet into the next 12. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10, 11, and then 12. So that was 1 half double crochet in those 12. And now I'm going to put a double crochet into the last 2 stitches here. 1 double, and then 1 double. And now I'm at my corner. So in this chain 2 space, I'm going to put 2 double crochets, chain of 2, and 2 more double crochets. Like that. And now I'm going to put a double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 double, and then 1 double in the next, and then it's a half double crochet into the next 12 stitches. 1 half double in the next 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 1 double in those last 2. And then I'm at my corner, so it's going to be 2 double crochets, chain of 2, and 2 double crochets. And I'm going to repeat this all the way around until I get back to where I started. 1 double crochet into the first 2 stitches, like that, and then 1 half double into the next 12, double into the last 2, and then you'll be at their corner, and then you'll have 2, then you'll put double crochet in the next 2, and then you'll have 12 half doubles, and you should be back at the beginning. Okay, once you make it to the end here, you just want to slip stitch into the top of that chain 2, or I'm sorry, the top of the double crochet, not the chain 1, double crochet. I don't even know why I said chain 2. Like that. And then you can tie that off. Now what I'm going to do is hide all these tails, and then we'll start making a bag for it so it's not so holey. But if you want to leave it like this for make it out of acrylic or something, it'd make a really nice afghan or something like that. But I'm going to put it back on mine, so I'm going to go ahead and hide all these tails, and then we'll get started on the back. Okay, for the back, I'm going to start out with a chain of 25. And I'm going to put 1 single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. And then it's just 1 single crochet in every single stitch for the length of the chain. Just like that. And when you get to the end of your chain, you should have 24 single crochets, 24 stitches. Okay, once you make it to the end and you have your 24 stitches, all we're going to do is chain 1 and turn, and we're going to put 1 single crochet right here in the very first stitch, like that. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch across again until we get to the end of the row. So the back is just rows of single crochet. Just like that. And when you get to the end, you still should have 24 stitches at the end of row 2. Okay, when you make it to the end of your row, you want to make sure your last stitch goes into that last single crochet there on the end, and you got your 24 stitches. All you're going to do is chain 1 and turn, single crochet right back into that very first stitch, and now it's just again 1 single crochet in every stitch. That chain 1 that we do in the beginning doesn't count as anything. It doesn't count as a stitch. So now we're just doing rows of single crochet. And at the end of every row, you should have 24 stitches. And what we want to do is 24 rows of single crochet. So 24 rows of 24 single crochet. Okay, once you got your 24 rows of the 24 single crochet done, you can tie that off and clip your yarn. And then what we're going to do is sew them together. Or actually, I'm going to single crochet them together. Kind of want to give it a little bit of a stretch like this, so it fits nicely with this one. And it should line up good. Now, my recommendation, though, if you're going to use this for a pot holder, is you probably want to maybe sew a piece of fabric right here with maybe some type of batting in between it, and then put this on, because I honestly don't think, even 2 pieces sewed together, that I would grab a pan with it, because you could still see, you could still touch it. I'm just making mine for decoration, so. But that's just my recommendation. I mean, it's completely up to you. If you put it together like I'm doing and you think that it's okay to use for a pot holder, you know, that's That's up to you. But I would, if I was going to use it, I would probably put some white fabric in there, and maybe some type of batting or something underneath it, just so you don't get burnt. But you know, you make your best judgment on that. Okay, now what we're going to do is put our pieces together, and I'm going to single crochet these together. Now you can start in any one of these corners, and then in any one of the corners on the other piece. And what you want to do is kind of line them up, go through this corner, and then go through this corner. And you want to pull your yarn through, and we're going to start off by chaining 1. Now we're going to go back through the same spot, the same 2 corners that we just went through and started, and do a single crochet. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this chain space again, and then I'm going to go through the next stitch on the back piece. So right here, not the same one, but the next stitch, and single crochet. So now we have 2 stitches in that corner. So now we're going to move on. I'm going to go to the next stitch on this piece, and then the next stitch right here on the back piece, and single crochet. And then the next stitch on this piece, and the next stitch on the back piece. You can kind of see it, it's right there. Single crochet. The next stitch on this piece, and then when you look on the back, the next stitch right here on the back piece, and a single crochet. And I'm going to do this all the way down. The next stitch on this piece, and then the next stitch here on the back, the next stitch here, next stitch on the back, single crochet. And I'm going to continue doing this all the way down. And when you look on the back, you can see your stitches, even though they're not really, they're side stitches. You can still see them, like right there and there and there. So they're not real hard to see. So I'm going to do this all the way down until I get to my next corner, and I'll meet up with you right down here. Okay, I've made it down to the next corner. You should have 2 stitches left on this side. So what we're going to do is go through the corner and go into the next stitch, a single crochet, and then we're going to go through the corner again and go into the next stitch, and single crochet. Now we're going to start working down this side, so we're going to go into the corner again and go into the first stitch on this side, and the single crochet. And we're going to go through the corner one more time and go into the next stitch on this side, and single crochet. So there's really 4 single crochets in that corner. And now we're going to grab the next stitch, which is right here, and then go into the next stitch on the back side here, and single crochet, and go into this stitch, and then the next stitch on the back side. And we're just going to keep doing that pattern all the way down until we get to the next corner, and I will see you right down here, and I'll show you how to work the corner one more time. Okay, I've made it to my next corner. Got 2 stitches left there on the back. So I'm going to go into this corner and go into that next stitch and single crochet. Go into the same corner and go into the next stitch, single crochet. And now we're going to be working down this side. So we're going to put the 2 in the corner for this side. So we're going to go into the corner and grab the first one on this side, single crochet, go into the corner one more time, grab the next stitch, let me look here, make sure I'm getting the right one, and single crochet, like that. So you got your 4 single crochets in that corner. So now I'm going to start again with this first stitch here, and then the next one on the back, and single crochet the next stitch here, the next stitch on the back, single crochet, and I'm going to do this all the way down until I get to my next corner. Oh, I have the hardest time with cotton. Okay, I've made it to the next corner. I have 2 stitches left on this side, so I'm going to go into the corner and go through my next stitch, go into the corner again and go through the next stitch on that side, and now I'm going to flip it, go into the same corner, go into the next stitch on this side. One more time, go into the corner and go into the next stitch on this side. So I got 4 in the corner. Now I'm going to starting with my first one there. I am going to continue across, sewing my piece up like we've been doing until I get to the other side, or the next corner, which will be our last corner. So just like that. So it's starting to come together. Okay, I'm back to where I started, and when I started I just put 2 single crochets in that corner, so we'll have 2 more to put in this corner. So it's kind of tight. Stick your finger through there and go through the corner and grab, there should be 2 stitches left back here. Grab one of them and then single crochet it together, and then the last one, probably gonna be a little bit hard to do, but go through the corner and then grab, oh, my finger's in the way, go through the corner and grab that last stitch, and there you go. Now you got 4 in that corner. Go ahead and slip stitch into your first single crochet, tie that off, and I can't find my scissors, but go ahead and clip that yarn, and then you can hide the tails, and then I'm going to go around it with some red. Okay, now totaled all the way around you should have 96 stitches. And now I'm going to go back to my red color, and I'm going to put a edging on it. So you can start anywhere that you want. It doesn't really matter. Probably start here, just a little bit away from my corner. Now what I'm going to do is start my yarn, and I'm going to go back into that chain 1, and then I'm going to go back into that same stitch and single crochet like that. And then I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch, and I'm going to put a picot on that stitch. So what I'm going to do is chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go right back into the top of it and slip stitch. I like to grab this stitch here and then kind of the side stitch. I think it makes the picot hold a little bit better. Traditionally you would go back into the chain 1, but I don't always do that. Like that, and that puts a little point. Now what I'm going to do is single crochet into the next stitch. Sorry, I don't know why my dog's barking. And then I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch, and I'm going to do a picot on this stitch. So I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to go back down and slip stitch kind of inside, like right here and right here. Slip stitch it, and that's going to put the little point on the top like that. And then I'm going to single crochet in the next stitch, and then single crochet into the next stitch, and then I'm going to picot again. And that's the kind of edging I'm going to put on it all the way around. So I'm going to chain 3, go back down. Like I said, normally you would slip stitch here, but I'm going to slip stitch right here into the side, just like that. And you just want to keep repeating that all the way around. So single crochet into the next, single crochet into the next, and then you picot on that one. 1, 2, 3. Come back around right about here and slip stitch it. And it makes that point on the end. It's definitely a lot harder to make a picot with cotton than it is with regular acrylic. And then you single crochet into the next. And you single crochet into the next. And then you picot on this one. I've been griping about this cotton the whole time, haven't I? And then slip stitch back down. And make your picot. And we're just going to repeat this pattern all the way around. Single crochet into the next. Single crochet into the next. And then picot, chain 3. Go back down and slip stitch. Okay, I went ahead and just went a little bit further, and I'll show you. You even go around the corners the same way. But that's what it starts to look like. I think it looks really good, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that out. I got a little bit more ways to go, and then I will see you when I get right over here to the end. Okay, once you make it all the way around, your last stitch should have been a picot stitch, and mine was. So we're just going to end by slip stitching into the first single crochet, not the chain 1, with the single crochet. Sorry if I have such a bad camera angle. My camera stand is broken. I need to get a new one, so the camera is just kind of laying on it, not very sturdy. Okay, then you just tie that off, and then you can hide any remaining tails, and that is it. That's all there is to it. I'm going to move my camera, so it's going to get kind of wobbly, but that's what it looks like. I think it turned out really nice. Yeah, I think it kind of might. And you can follow me on Instagram. I'll put a link to that below in the description box also. And until next time, have a nice day.